right, maybe you should just keep having a dog or a cat, maybe even a goldfish, maybe that's safer. I mean, I don't know. Having a chimp around, it doesn't seem like a good idea, especially if it goes wrong, and it definitely goes wrong here. So, with that, let's just see how bad it goes with starting with the IMDb plot. A group of friends' tropical vacation turns into a terrifying primal tale of horror and survival. We like tales of horror, definitely. All right, so this is a new movie out, one of the first horrors of the year, and starting off with a killer monkey or so forth. This time we get a real monkey. We saw the monkey last year, and it was just basically a toy that was possessed and sent evil around. It did plenty of damage on his own for being a toy, or whatever you want to call it. But this time we actually get a living monkey, chimp, ballpark, whatever you want to call it. And, as it kind of says there, kind of fairly simple story. You have the chimp as the pet. It's going to get bit by something where you thought, oh, he's well trained, blah, 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 and he's the family pet and blah, blah, blah. And he's going to get rabies and, didn't just want to kill everybody. We get, Lucy and, some of her friends and her sister, I think it was her sister, come to visit her dad while they're on vacation. I think it's Hawaii. And they're there. They think they're going to have a good time, relax, spend some time there in the house. And Dad actually ends up going away. It is Dad's animal. It is Dad who keeps the animal. But Dad has to go on a quick trip. So, they think they're going to be there in the home, have their fun. The chimp seems to get along with the girls and the introduction to the friend and everything like that. But yeah, Dad's away and the chimp comes out to play, and not in a friendly manner. They kind of, interestingly enough, the movie becomes basically the movie of being stuck in the pool. They could have named it Pool or Stuck in the Pool or something like that, because apparently the chimp here doesn't swim, and their only real safety ends up being that they're in the pool. So they spend a considerable amount of time in the pool, then kind of having moments of jumping out of the pool, trying to find ways to escape, or a phone, or one of the girls is kind of injured, and it's kind of they're just kind of floating. So survival is meant by staying in the pool, which kind of explains things and kind of gives them a way to kind of keep the girls alive without being ripped away into shreds, and kind of drag this on. But another half seemed a little ridiculous, because it was kind of get out of the pool, back in the pool, get out of the pool, get back in the pool. Eventually, they are going to have to get out of the pool. But it's just kind of, I don't know. I took some humor in it. I know this wasn't supposed to be a horror comedy, but I was just kind of like, okay, we're going back to the pool. Okay, we're in the pool now. Back to the pool. So I thought that was kind of a little funny there. I didn't really look into it. I don't know how, if this was, all a real chimp or person in a costume or whatever, blah, blah. Regardless, I thought they did a decent job with the chimp and the horror that they created there. Obviously, there's certain scenes for me. There's definitely some blood and guts there. Definitely, they kind of meet the task of when the chimp kind of gets your hands on you. It's going to get your hands on you and do some damage. And so it does. And you do get a little bit of brutal moments there, which I did enjoy. So I will give the film credit for that. And the girls were okay. It was okay. The father is deaf. I thought that was an interesting, extra. I think there was another movie that came out last year, that used a character with a disability or so forth. And, I kind of said in that movie or in that review that we should see more characters in horror movies, have kind of thing, whether they're deaf or have something else going on, just to kind of mix the characters up and have different people in movies, not always, teens or college people and, kind of, we have the good looking ones and, they have to be hot and blah, blah for the audience, blah. No, let's mix in some, real life characters. I mean, life isn't all, good looking teens and college people and this and that. Let's mix up the characters and so forth. So, the father did have his disabilities there, so that was good to see a character like that in the movie. It didn't, overall stand a whole bunch of time in the movie, but it was just good to have a different character like that in the movie. That's not so, just the standard. So, the acting was okay. That didn't bother me in the movie. I guess just, at the end of it, it's kind of like, did we need this movie? Did it have to happen? I enjoyed the blood and guts, but at the end of the day, is it just another, animal gonna kill people movie? And it kind of is. I don't think it gave us anything, hugely different or whatever, besides being stuck in a pool. Another reason to be stuck in a pool for a while. I guess, it's in a house, which is not a unique setting, but then, you kind of get stuck in the pool. So maybe that's a touch different. So maybe a little bit of credit there, even though it seemed ridiculous after a while. I thought they tried to do, and they did an okay with some of the suspense and tension, and as, kind of, the chimp kind of being the serial killer here, kind of creeping up on people. There's one scene where he's in front of a person there, and the person is not really sure, if the chimp is going to be friendly or not, and what is going to happen. And obviously, as the audience that the chimp is not going to be friendly, but that person doesn't know. So there's a lot of tension kind of built up there to when it's going to happen. So I don't think it was built hugely on jump scares. Maybe there's one or two slight moments there that they try to kind of sprinkle in there. I don't think it was a huge jump or a huge scare there. But they definitely tried to get at least some suspense / tension moments. I thought it was okay. With the scene kind of like that, like the one I just said. But yeah, I guess if you're just into, a little bit of blood and guts and you want to see an animal kind of go wild on people, this might be the movie for you. Otherwise, if you don't, not really interested in that or killer animals or whatever, then maybe you want to kind of stay away from it. Again, I don't think it accomplished anything huge, new, or different, but was kind of just okay in the end. Like I said, I enjoyed some of the blood and guts of it. But, other than that, it is just another killer animal movie. And I guess, again, I want to take a shot at it. No CGI sharks, so we're seen or heard in this movie. They weren't in the pool. So at least we got a movie void of some really bad CGI that just messed up the animal killing here. Another review coming soon, which will involve that. We'll talk about that one in that review. Oh, God. Yeah, so with that, I think I'm going to give it 2.5 pools of blood. Like I said, just kind of there. Kind of just, an okay movie about, the chimp killing people. And, probably give it, at least maybe a 0.5 a pool of blood just for the blood and guts of it. But so, nothing, crazy, world winning here. But yeah, if you're just kind of interested in a chimp killing people, maybe you just want to give this one a watch. So 2.5 pools of blood out of 5 for this one. So with that, horrorscorereviews.blogspot.com, so you can find all of my reviews, written and video. Certainly tons of video reviews for quite a while now, so you can like and subscribe and do everything else that everybody wants to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries. It is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below, so you can reach out to me there as well. talk about horror, this movie, you want me to review something, please feel free to reach out. And definitely in the comment section, did you enjoy this movie or not? Your thoughts, feel free to put them in there. And with that, I'll catch you on the next review, horror fans.